Propaganda, a powerful weapon of genocide. Albert Einstein once said, "The world is a dangerous place to live, not because of the people who are evil, but because of the people who don't do anything about it." Throughout history, multiple genocides have occurred, leading to the murder of millions of people. You would think that after one genocide, history would not repeat itself, but unfortunately, it has. This leads me to wonder why. Why are people able to stand aside while mass murder occurs around them? I believe propaganda has a major impact on why people become bystanders during a genocide. The propaganda used during the Holocaust manipulated the German civilians into believing the Jewish people were bad. Before I get into that, I'm going to give a brief history leading up to the Holocaust. Then I will provide examples of propaganda used. After World War I, Germany experienced economic turmoil. The Allies punished Germany, forcing Germany to pay reparations. Much of the blame for Germany's defeat in 1918 was placed on the Jews. A massive inflation struck the country in 1923 because the government had to pay off reparations after World War I. During the economic collapse in 1923, as the Nazis gained status in Bavaria, Hitler decided to overthrow the conservative local government in Munich and then march in Berlin. This attempt failed and led to his arrest. Although his attempt failed, he was able to learn from his mistakes and make a better plan. While in jail, he started to write Mein Kampf and continued to gain loyal supporters. As the economy continued to worsen, the Germans were desperate for someone to come and take power. Between 1929 and 1933, political crises followed one upon another, expressing the reality of a deeply divided people. This led to the Nazi Party growing stronger because they were feeding off of the discontent of the middle and lower middle class. Hitler won in 1933. After Hitler rose to power, the Nazis began to deprive the Jews of civil and legal rights and began to exclude them from the economy. Anti-Jewish propaganda began to spread. During Hitler's rule, Joseph Goebbels was the Reich propaganda minister. Goebbels argued propaganda was the strongest weapon in the conquest of the states. It remains the strongest weapon in consolidation and building up the state. Hitler believed that the elimination of rational thinking is a prerequisite for the control of the masses. This shows they were using propaganda to manipulate the citizens of Germany. There were multiple ways propaganda was spread, including through the radio, newspaper articles, posters, and even school curriculum. While Hitler was in power, curriculum in schools began to center in anti-Semitism. New textbooks were written in the spirit of Nazism, for example, the National Socialist Physics and the National Socialist Chemistry. The spread of propaganda in textbooks allowed the Nazi regime to manipulate the minds of young students. Propaganda was even used in math problems. One example of a math problem used was, "The Jews are aliens in Germany." In 1933, there were 66 million inhabitants in the German Reich, of whom of the 499,682 were Jews. What is the percentage of aliens? This math problem shows how the Nazi regime used propaganda to dehumanize the Jewish people, while manipulating children at the same time. By spreading propaganda to adults and children, Hitler was able to manipulate more minds, thus creating more followers. This manipulation is what led civilians to stand by as genocide occurred around them. By studying the power of propaganda and gaining knowledge on how it is a weapon, could prevent further genocide in the future.